Alright, here's the video for Chapter 11, Lesson 4, California and Utah. So after the Mexican-American War, California especially is going to be important as that state is going to get very popular very quickly. Utah will get popular as well for religious reasons, which you'll see later in this lesson. So this is pretty standard. Same, honestly, just cutting and pasting this, same idea. First couple things you need to do, make sure you have the textbook or the online version, and then make sure you have a place to study. It takes you 2 days to complete this, that's fine. It's set up to be day 1 and day 2. You don't have to work for a full hour, you can take some breaks, get up and stretch and stuff. This assignment, one different thing about this is actually going to be worth 20 points. There's a lot of big ideas I want to make sure you guys hit on, so some takeaways about California history and some interesting religious history about the Mormons in Utah. So your 2 objectives today: understand the cause and effect relationships that follow the discovery of gold in California. You guys have probably heard of the San Francisco 49ers. Some of you guys also know that has to do with the gold rush and how in 1849 a lot of people came to California after gold was found here. Secondly, we want to identify the Mormons and analyze why they settled in Utah. So identify, I guess it'd be better to say, identify beliefs of the Mormons, some of the differences. All right, so day 1 is about California. I started highlighting some stuff because not everyone has started watching these videos, obviously, but more people are doing the assignments. So just a couple key things to make sure if you guys want to have full understanding. We're going to start with page 415. You're going to read the first 2 paragraphs under California Gold Rush, and then you're going to describe, using 2 quotes from the text, you're going to describe the types of people who lived in California. So just look for types of societies, why people were coming here, what was like the early motivations. Make sure to use quotation marks. Next, you're going to read about the Californios. Probably said that wrong. This is the Spanish word, as you guys will see when you read it, and it's a specific group of people. So use one piece of text to explain who they were, and then quote one piece of text to answer the question above. So this is important because, well, spoilers, this is about after Mexico has to give up California, this is about the group that was left behind. Those formerly of Mexico people that were left in California after it was taken by the United States. Then read the section Life of a 49er and Gold Rush Society. This question is going to ask you what a boomtown is according to the text. Use the textbook to find the definition for boomtown. You're going to want to use some context clues because right after it says boomtown, it says this statement, and that is not the answer. Because once you get to a city of 20,000 people, no longer a boomtown. So you're looking for what made it a boomtown, because eventually, this is actually talking about this sentence right here is talking about San Francisco very early on, which was formerly Spanish and then Mexican, and now obviously that California was won from Mexico. It's American. 8 is just describe the California Gold Rush. I want you guys, so this is obviously a big idea here, right? 3 pieces of text. It can be from any of the sections that talk about the gold rush, but make sure you're describing me things about the California Gold Rush. Okay. So this is kind of an interesting story. Typically, these kind of stories aren't really told in most textbooks, but our new textbook has a couple of these added in. If you look on page 416, there is a biography labeled Charlie Parkhurst, an interesting historical person, as you guys will see when you read it. This part's worth 5 points. Answer the following 2 questions. What was the specific moment of surprise in the passage? So this is a true story, but obviously, because sometimes when you see passage, you guys probably think English class. But and then opinion, why do you think Charlotte made the decision to live as Charlie? That will make more sense when you guys read it. All right, then you guys are going to read economic and political progress. We'll finish off the section, and then this is our big idea question, so you can reference back to anything that you read in this section about California, but it has to focus on answering the idea of what effect did the discovery of gold have on California, which was our objective up here. Oh, sorry, highlighted the whole thing like a dummy. All right, so a little longer one here. 3 sentences using your own words. Begin by restating the question. So the effect the discovery of gold had on California was, and then make sure to cover the big ideas about how Californian history and how it developed into a society because of the gold. All right, day 2 is going to be about like I mentioned earlier, a religious group called Mormons. It's a branch of Christianity. There's some slight differences. You guys have probably heard of Mormons before. It's also known as the oh gosh, I'm forgetting the name. It says in the book, I believe it's the Church of Latter-day Saints, which it will give you some of the highlights, but there's a reason they name themselves Latter-day, or Later Day is another way to say that. All right, so before you read, there were several religious awakening movements. They were the starting of new forms of Christianity. So at this point in history, I think we're about in the 1840s, there's been more and more different newer branches of Christianity popping up. If you guys remember from last year, we talked about the Reformation and how people started challenging the Catholic Church. Christianity started to splinter into different things. It continues on even to this day. There's still more people making more different forms of Christianity. So this is before you read, right? Before you read, your opinion question is, why do you think people made new forms of Christianity? Write 1 to 2 sentences explaining your opinion. So why do people want to make their own branch of Christianity? Because like I said, this keeps happening today. All right. You're going to read the first paragraph, and then you're going to read the section the Mormons move on. There's 5 questions. Who were the Mormons? And this is describing things, so you're looking for descriptive things. 2 to 3 quotes describe the Mormons. Make sure to explain who they were and what they believed. And you can add on details about the persecution they suffered as well. If you're not too sure what that word is, Google it. Okay? And you got 2 more questions. I feel like I've been talking for a while, but this is seems a little shorter than most of ours, especially because we have a lot of just detailed questions. So now you're going to read the section, A Haven in the Desert, which I believe is the last section. Should be. You're going to summarize the reason the city of desert, not what you think, obviously not dessert, but or desert. I'm saying it wrong again. It's the second mispronunciation in one lesson. Sorry, guys. Used to do this in class, so it's normal, right? Why was it able to flourish? Explain in 1 to 2 sentences the answer, and then in your own words. And then your last question, another 5 points here. General summary of everything you read about the Mormons. Why did the Mormons settle in Utah? So look for the why. Why Utah? Okay. Write 2 sentences. Make sure you restate it. Make sure to cover the process of Mormon history. All right, guys. Good luck. I believe this is due on Tuesday. Pretty sure. You guys will have a. Well, this part doesn't matter if you guys are just working on this. Don't worry about it. Starting Monday, I'll upload a lesson about the different reform movements that pop up and how United States society starts to change as people start advocating more for the end of slavery, women's rights, and various other things, as you guys will see.